It's not just a game. It's in your DNA. Like us, you live and breathe every moment. You dissect, navigate, and analyze. At SpreadX, we bring you a world of betting where flexibility and precision are at your fingertips. With real-time analysis across all devices, wherever you are. Enjoy sports betting that's data-driven. Next level action. SpreadX. It's in our DNA.
Opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg.
Bellingham, 25-yard, lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
Virtue, official partner of Sunderland AFC.
Sport. It's not just a game. It's in your DNA. Like us, you live and breathe every moment. You dissect, navigate, and analyze. At SpreadX, we bring you a world of betting where flexibility and precision are at your fingertips. With real-time analysis across all devices, wherever you are. Enjoy sports betting that's data-driven. Next level action. SpreadX. It's in our DNA.
And there's an opportunity here. Oh, how cool is that? How cool is that? From Chris Rigg.
Flanagan, 25-yard lines it up and drills it into the back of the net.
Virtue, official partner of Sunderland AFC.
See if they can test Newcastle one more time here with Altidore.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to SAFC Live. We're back here at the Stadium of Light. The lads are down at Hillsborough for an 8 p.m. kick-off. Sunderland versus Sheffield Wednesday, of course. Alongside me, as ever, is Danny Collins. Danny, how are you doing? Sunderland need to bounce back from those successive defeats.
Exactly that, yeah. I think, obviously, coming off the back of the Leeds results back here last weekend against Hull, everybody expected us to get back to winning ways. It wasn't the case, so it's back-to-back defeats, but we've got to react this evening. And as you say, get back to winning ways and get a bit of form going. Obviously, you're looking at the teams above us getting a little bit of a gap there, opening up, but you've got to keep on going. Still 12 games to go, a lot of points to play for, and strange things have happened in football.
Let's go through the changes then, if we can. The starting 11's been tinkered with dramatically, maybe for the first time this season as well, Danny.
Yeah, just a bit. Yeah, 5 changes for Regis this evening. Yeah, starting with it, obviously the obvious ones were Romain Mundle coming in for Enzo Lefebvre, picking up that injury last week in the first half. Chris Mepham obviously coming in for Dan Ballard as well. So we knew those two were going to be out. Dennis Sirkin missing this evening, obviously dropping down to the bench. Leo Kjelder gets an opportunity coming in at left back. Alan Brown returning, been out for a while as well, coming in for Chris Rigg. And then the other straight swap, top end of the pitch, Meander coming in for Wilson.
What do you think we're seeing here then, Danny? Is it the time of the season, those last couple of games, taking it out of the players, getting to that point where you've got to really use your squad if you are able to, do you think?
Yeah, I think myself, I thought we would have made a few changes against Hull on Saturday, where obviously coming off the back of the Leeds one was a tough one on the legs for the lads. Yes, we didn't have a midweeker after that, but I thought he might have made changes. He didn't, he went with the same 11, and obviously we didn't get the result. But you look at it tonight, he's made a few changes. That obviously signals 1 or 2 he feels needs a rest. I think a lot of people would agree. A lot of those lads have played a lot of football. Chris Rigg is prime example, a young lad, his first real full season. So yeah, I think it's good that he gets a breather. And obviously Wilson as well puts a lot of hard yards in, and a straight swap there when we end up coming in for him at top end.
On the bench though, so they will be involved probably at some point as well. Do you feel that it's the right time to do this kind of changes around the squad, do you think?
Well, we'll find out over the next 12 games or so. I think, yeah.
Do you think the fans will think that
it's
as well?
getting a balance, isn't it? Because obviously, you know, as lads, you ask players, they don't want to come out of the side.
Yeah, and Chris Rigg wouldn't want to have dropped out tonight.
No. But you know, this day and age, you have all the sports science in there. They're weighing up your minutes and everything that goes on, and the data is recorded. But if you ask a player how you're feeling, they'll say, "Yeah, I want to get back out there and play the next game." Now, Regis will have looked at it with his coaching staff during the week. We said on the weekend we had a fairly strong bench. There's options on there. Alexic is on there as well, looking to get game time. He's struggling to get a start. Sam Ed's come in, played 1 or 2 games as well. So there's depth in the middle of the pitch. Obviously, Alan Brown's come in. He's the option that's coming for Riggy this evening. And then you're looking elsewhere on the pitch as well. Leo Kjelder's been biding his time. He's had a few sub-appearances as well. He gets an opportunity tonight. And you're going to need a squad throughout the course of the season. It's a long old slog, 46 games. And then obviously if we're looking at the playoffs as well. So yeah, it's an opportunity for Chris to try and recharge his batteries. May well get some game time this evening as well. But then on the flip side of that, big opportunity now for Romain coming back. He's had a frustrating time with his injury, as has Alan Brown as well. So they'll be chomping at the bit to get back out there and be a big part of this running now.
Let's look back at Sunderland's last game, of course. It was on Saturday against Hull City, and Sunderland losing that 100% unbeaten record at home. You know, we came away and we discussed the chances after the game. And actually, Regis made some good points. He said Sunderland had plenty crosses into the box, didn't he? You'd hear him when he said that. But we didn't convert enough in front of goal.
No, they never know. I think Trey Hume especially put some decent balls in the game. But yeah, the game sort of panned out as we had expected. I thought we actually started quite well first 5-10 minutes. And then this was their first real passage of play, getting forward. Then they had good control for 20-30 passes at this stage in the game. And then they were working 1 or 2 opportunities, and you could feel the crowd getting a little bit restless, naturally, as they would do when we're the home side against a side 4th from bottom. But they've got some good quality in their side as well, Hull, and they work some good patterns of play, as you're seeing here now as well. I think that's Gelhardt, isn't it? Gets the strike away, doesn't catch it as clean as he would have liked, plays it off his standing foot. But the flow of the game, really, it just went in Hull's favour for 20-25 minutes. And
it's the big moment,
the big point. Yeah, so obviously that in-swinger whipped in near post. Patrick there, he's put in that area. Obviously he's not naturally defensive, but the ball's fired in. He wants to try and get there. He's obviously not the biggest. You could say
it's just a bit of a mess, really, isn't it?
Yeah, as he put, see it from this one now, I don't think he gets anything on it, but he just does enough to put Pato. I think Pato should punch it, personally. I'm not a goalkeeper, but I
he
just
probably
think
takes them 99% of times.
Yeah.
He takes them, doesn't he?
Well, exactly. If he gathers that in there, nobody batters an eyelid. You know, we get on it and we're playing, aren't we? But it's gone through his gloves there, ends up in the back of the net, and obviously that proved to be the difference on the day. But they did have 1 or 2 half chances and opportunities as well, Hull. But so did we ourselves. You know, I don't think it's one of those where fans come away disappointed we've lost the game. I don't think Hull were better than us by any stretch, of course, but we were nowhere near our best. But we did have good opportunities ourselves. This one here now.
He's offside the whole way, isn't he, Luke?
He is, yeah. You know, these 3 or 4 shirts there, we're always in an offside position. And as I said, credit to Hull there. Sometimes you get someone who gets a little bit edgy and nervous, drops back in a little bit earlier than the rest, but they didn't. They held their line well, and Luke was offside. And I just mentioned it there for Wilson. It was a frustrating one for Wilson, really. He was feeding on scraps. We'll get onto his opportunity in the second half with the header. But yeah, we didn't really get him into the game as much as we would have liked, really, and opportunities for him in the 18-yard box.
Yeah, frustrating afternoon for Sunderland. And of course the fans as well, and they see that unbeaten home record. But the lads will want to bounce back tonight, won't they, Danny? They know that they weren't at their best against Hull City.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't take anybody, me and you sat it, or the fans to tell them that, you know, they feel that they've let themselves down at a big stage in the season. And as we said, coming off the back of that defeat at Leeds, it was a tough one to take.
They put a lot into that week, didn't they?
Yeah, and then, you know, you're deflated after that one, going up against the side top of the table. And then you're expected then to come and roll Hull over, you know, Hull at 4th from bottom. Then obviously not in a false position because, you know, the table doesn't lie after 35, 36 games. But they've had a couple of good results. They beat Sheffield United 3-0 away a few weeks ago. So they're more than capable of getting a result. So, you know, on that showing, as I said there, they soaked up a lot of possession. But they had 1 or 2 opportunities on the counter-attack. And that's sort of what's been our downfall this season at home, where teams come and sit deep and we find it difficult to break them down. And then sides will get opportunities on the counter-attack.
This is Wilson's header.
Here's that big one now. Lovely ball in from Trey, in between centre-back and full-back. And I think the only thing I'd say there, Wilson, he's tried to be too
trying
precise.
to put him that next to the post, isn't he?
Yeah, tried to just guide it in between the keeper and the post there, and just doesn't get enough on it, really, and the opportunity goes away. So, yeah, listen, we did have a couple of opportunities, positives to take. Romain came on, got 45 minutes under his belt. Seen a lot of the ball, didn't he, when he come on? And yeah, as I said, that he'll be looking to get into it this evening from the start. Here's one for Hull now, as we said there, opportunity on the counter-attack, 4v2. You think that we've managed to take care of it there, and it's a great call from the linesman, as we say. He's on this near side, and you see it here now. Just see there, he is offside at the far post.
Crooks, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, great finish, by the way, lovely back heel, but, well, I was going to say, fortunately it didn't count, but in the end it came to nothing, didn't it, because we couldn't get the equaliser.
What a couple of those players, Louis Coyle and Elliot Matazzo in midfield. They had a good afternoon for Hull,
he's a good defender, Louis Coyle. I say it was a good
battle
with Lafay up against him first half, and then obviously when Romain come on second half as well. But yeah, again, there's Mayenda off the bench, and yes, it's on his weaker right foot, but worst case there, you fancy him to hit the target, but he drags it past the near post. So we did have some good opportunities in the game as well, and as I say there, probably a draw would have been a fair result, but as I say, you don't always get what you deserve in football. And first home defeat in the league, wasn't it? And then we've got to, as I say, lick your wounds, and we've got to go again this evening. And I think if you look at it this evening, we're away, so the onus is on Sheffield Wednesday to come out and sort of try and take control of the game. So there'll be pockets of space for us to play in, really, you know, with their full-backs getting forward.
Is this a handball, Danny?
Yeah, just getting back to that one. That's a handball all day. I mean, it's travelled 30, 40 yards, so it's not as if it's on him. Yeah, I mean, you can look at Luke's reaction there, Dennis as well behind him, and that's a handball. Yeah, they've got away with that one there. So, as I say there, sometimes you get them and sometimes you don't, and hopefully we get 1 or 2 that go in our favour between now and the end of the season. Yeah,
Sunderland pushed late on as well, but in the end just didn't create that golden opportunity, did they? Kind of fizzles out towards the end as well. But lots of changes tonight. We'll bring up the starting 11 in a moment once again. If you are just joining us, Sunderland making plenty of changes this evening. We'll show you that once again now, if we can. And Danny will take you through those changes. And of course, changes in the starting 11 mean a couple of changes on the bench as well. Trey Ogunsui and Harrison Jones return to the bench as well. But otherwise, it's a pretty strong bench, isn't it, to complement the 11?
Yeah, well, obviously looking at the ones that have come out, it's obviously Wilson, Dennis dropping down there as well. So there's the couple coming out of it, and Chris Rigg. So the 2 injured lads obviously in the treatment room, and then still some good options on the bench. And as you say, the likes of Trey, who's doing well in the 21s, Harrison Jones, keep pushing. Obviously, they weren't involved last week with the bench, but when they drop down to the 21s, they've got to keep at it. trying to impress, try and progress and get themselves into the first team.
Alan Brown, of course, involved earlier in the season when Sunderland put 4 past Sheffield Wednesday as well. He had a great start to the season, Alan Brown, didn't he? But obviously that fractured leg which he sustained has kept him out the side. But a real chance for him to regain that shirt in a very competitive midfield.
Yeah, it is, yeah, because, as I say, you look at it there, we're obviously a young midfield with Dan Neil, the captain, still a young lad really, isn't he? And Job and obviously Chris Rigg ahead of Dan have been the sort of the midfield 3 really for the majority of the season. Alan had 1 or 2 games earlier on. I think he got a goal at Portsmouth, wasn't it? Poaching one on the line off Meenda. And he will have been frustrated spending the amount of time he has out of the squad. But now he gets back in there. So he's got, he's into the running now, 12 games to go, and if he comes in and impresses and he can sort of nail down a place there, then the shirt's his to take, isn't it?
Well, let's see. When we come back, we'll look at tonight's opposition, of course, which are Sheffield Wednesday. The lads are down at Hillsborough as well. We'll get some pictures from the ground. If you want to buy the Matchday streaming pass, you can do so right now at safc.com. And remember to go to safcstore.com to take advantage of that retro remix. Lots of clothing you can get there. No seagulls in here tonight, Danny, which I'm quite glad about. Okay, we'll be back after the break. Hello everyone, welcome back to SAFC Live. We're broadcasting around the world here on safc.com. Tell us where you're watching in from around the world this evening. Use that hashtag Ask Danny in the post-game programme. We'll be back here in the Queen's Sports Bar for that. We'll be disappearing for our commentary, in our commentary positions, but we're still in the pre-game programme, of course, looking ahead to an 8 p.m. kickoff down at Hillsborough. Danny's alongside me as ever. Let's have a look at that Sunderland team once again. If you are just joining us, there's wholesale changes from Regis. We got live pictures there from Hillsborough as well in the background. Danny.
Yeah, I think we'll set up in that sort of normal 4-3-3 under Regis this evening. As I say, pretty much straight swaps throughout the five. We mentioned Chris Mepham coming in alongside Luke O'Nien, Leo Kjelder coming in at left back, Alan Brown, his first start in a while, obviously since his injury. Romain Mundle, 45 under his belt against Hull, so he comes in on that left-hand side for Lafay. And then straight swap top end of the pitch, Wilson Isidore dropping down to the bench for Elijah Meander.
Let's have a look at Sheffield Wednesday for the first time this evening here on SFC Live. And they've made a couple of changes themselves, Danny.
Yeah, 4 changes themselves this evening. As I say, they're quite an experienced side, but they've lost 3 of the last 4, so similar to ourselves, not coming into it in great form. And naturally, managers then try to tinker and look for that winning solution, really. So, yeah, 4 changes.
You haven't said that, Danny. You say not in good form. They're still doing a lot better than they were last season as well. And Danny Roll, youngest manager in the EFL, I heard a Sheffield Wednesday fan describe Danny Roll as, really, really, really good coach, but he hasn't got the team to work with. He has got some experience in there. He's also got some dangerous players, but some of the signings haven't really worked out for them either, have they?
But I'd say it there, you look at it there, they've got 5 or so players in that starting 11 over the age of 30. So yeah, they've got some good experience in there, and 1 or 2 young boys. I like the boy Kasama. I think he might play off the right this evening. He's quite tricky, pace as well, direct when he gets on the ball. Josh Windass in there, experience. I think he's going to play off the left this evening. He's got 10 goals, top scorer. And obviously Barry Bannon's the main one you look at in there. And if Barry gets in charge of the game really and conducts things for him, then he controls games, doesn't he? We've seen over the years, good little player in there, technician.
Comes up all the time, 35 years old, Barry Bannon. But as you say, small in stature, reads the game really well and can string some beautiful passes around the midfield. Is that why maybe we're seeing Alan Brown to go head-to-head with him?
Yeah, well, they're set up generally a 4-2-3-1, so it's a midfield 3 matching up really. And as you say, it'll be Alan Brown.
They'll come across each other a lot over the years,
exactly,
won't they?
Getting around Barry Bannon and Shay Charles alongside him. Charles, obviously, the young lad with the legs in there. You're looking at Joe. From our point of view, Alan Brown can get around the pitch still, of course, as well. But they're your experienced heads in the middle of the park as well. And I think you look at games in the past, obviously, when you look at those playoff games which we had a couple of years back as well. I think the key to that was, and what the manager would have been saying, who was in charge at the time? Alex?
Of Sunderland?
Yeah.
It would have been Mike Dodds and Michael Bill. No, you've gone blank. It's all right.
Yeah. We'll get back to it in a minute. But their key talk would have been get round Barry Bannon, stop him playing, stop him dictating play and running the game for them.
Tony Mowbray, of
and
course.
we managed to do that, yeah. Alex
Tony
Neil it was.
Was that Alex Neil?
Yeah. There we go, yeah. We got there in the end. So he's the key for a lot of play goes through them. And obviously, yes, he's 35. He's not going to bomb around the pitch. He's got his first couple of yards in his head, hasn't he? And he's still technically very good. And if we can stop Barry getting on the ball and dictating play, then obviously that's one of their big tools out of the way, really.
Yeah, of course. You're referring to that famous night down at Hillsborough. Yeah, of course. It wasn't a Friday evening last time we played down at Hillsborough as well, when we beat them 3-0. Dan Ballard and Jack Clark scoring twice in that occasion. We played on a Friday.
Yeah, first half as well, wasn't it? Yeah, we really got after
played some really good football that evening as well. But how do you think Sunderland will approach the game this evening, despite the changes? And do you think Sheffield Wednesday will try and defend? Or we know Danny Rowe likes to try and play football.
Yeah, well, no, I think as the home side as well, and it might suit us that they have a little bit more of the ball, because as you say, you flip that round at the Stadium of Light, we tend to struggle when teams obviously come and sit in, have 25-30% of the ball, and doesn't matter, I say it all the time, doesn't matter who you're playing, if they want to sit in a low block on the edge of their box, it's hard to break sides down. Tonight, they're at home, obviously, Hillsborough, a decent old, one of those old-fashioned stadiums, be a good crowd in there this evening. And they'll want to see Sheffield United try and get on the ball and create opportunities. And then on the flip side of that, if we manage to nick possession, you've got to get out to Romain and out to Patrick as soon as we can to get us up the pitch.
And also get Eliza Mayenda running at the likes of Michael Ehekwe as well.
Well, exactly. I mean, you look at that, that front three for ourselves, obviously ball carriers themselves, Mayenda's played off the left, he's played off the right for us, and he's through the middle this evening. And their centre-backs will be aware of what he's all about. He's sharp over 10-15 yards. And they won't want to give him too much space in behind. And as I say there, if we do manage to nick it in our own third, get the ball forward as soon as we can, I think sometimes we can be guilty a little bit of overplaying or slowing the game down a little bit too much, and sometimes 2 or 3 passes, try and get in behind the opposition and create opportunities.
Should we have a look at the league table as it stands, Danny?
Yeah, let's go.
Let's have a look at it then, if we can. Because many Sunderland fans have been studying this over the last few weeks, and maybe they didn't look at this last week. But Sunderland cemented at the moment in 4th. Now, my question to you, Danny, is how do the players motivate themselves for the rest of the season? Because there's still quite a lot of football to be played and still a lot of points to be won. But as we know, the top 2, especially Leeds United, look like they're running away from Sunderland's position at the moment. But a lot can change in a couple of games.
Yeah. Well, certainly, I mean, you've got to take each game as it comes. We always say that, and you can't give up. I mean, stranger things have happened in football. As I said, there's still, 36 points to play for. Yes, you're banking on Sheffield United and Burnley blowing up and having a big dip in form and not picking up results. And on the same time, we've got to then go on a good run ourselves to put pressure on them.
And we're playing the likes of those teams in 6th to 10th.
Yeah, I was going to say, we've got
to
go to a lot of those sides. We've got to go to West Brom, we've got to go to Coventry, we've got to go to Bristol City, Norwich. So a lot of those sides just in behind us, we've got to go away to as well. So some difficult fixtures on paper. But yeah, at the same time, you've got to focus on the sides above you as well. As much as we're trying to cement our place in the playoffs, I wouldn't give up on hope of getting to the automatics yet straight away. What is it, 8 points and a little bit of goal difference? But if they have a 2 or 3 game run where they don't get wins, and we can get back to winning ways, you put pressure on them again.
I don't know if you saw the Leeds-Sheffield United game, but once Leeds got that goal back, they absolutely demolished Sheffield United. And we know Sheffield United's got a defeat in them as well. So it wouldn't be out the realms of possibility for them to have a bit of a dip. Yeah. Obviously, a massive, that mentally that would have took a lot out of them, as well as physically on Monday night as well. So you've just got to take every game as it comes. And then, Danny, of course, going into promotion as well for playoffs. Playoffs is all about momentum as well, isn't it?
Of course it is, yeah. So that's the key, really. And what could possibly be an issue is the fact that if we, in say 5 games' time, we know we're not going to get into the automatics, and then you think you're in a comfort zone of winning the playoffs, then all of a sudden, West Brom, Norwich, obviously Coventry doing well under Lampard. Yeah, they go on and run, and that gap gets a little bit tighter. All of a sudden, we're looking over our shoulders. So we can't be complacent, which I don't think the lads will be. Just getting back to form, really, and getting 1 or 2 results and almost securing your playoff place. But then, as I say there, don't give up on the automatics as well and put pressure on Sheffield United and Burnley just above us as well. And then going into the playoffs, some people say it's obviously vital if somebody comes up the rails there and they win 5 or 6 on the bounce. And obviously, you've got momentum going into the playoffs. On the flip side of that, we don't want to be that team just meandering around, scraping over the line, 2 or 3 draws, for instance, and a couple of defeats. And then you go into the playoffs and you've got to try and pick yourselves up again. But I don't think that'll happen. We've got 1 or 2 experienced lads around the camp. Luke will get around the boys and 1 or 2 others. Alan Brown, experienced at this level, and drive the boys on. It's a big prize at the end of it, at the end of the day, isn't it? Yes, it's going to be disappointing if we don't sort of get towards the end of the season and we're still not pushing for automatics. But there's a big prize waiting at Wembley if you fall short of automatics. Yeah,
and I guess from a professional point of view as well, you always have your own ambitions, like goal targets and clean sheets. We've had quite a lot of them this season, so Anthony Patterson will want to get back to those as well. And also a big milestone tonight, Luke O'Nien playing his 300th appearance in red and white. First of all, your thoughts on that accolade? Getting to that total for Luke, but he wants to play in the Premier League with Sunderland, doesn't he?
Yeah, of course you do. It's every player's ultimate goal, really, isn't it? Play at the highest level you can, and from our point of view, and a lot of fans would agree that they feel that Sunderland should be a Premier League club, and obviously these boys have got that task of trying to get us over the line and get us there this season. From Luke's point of view, yeah, fantastic. 300 games is some achievement. I think he's obviously played more than any player at the stadium, hasn't he?
And he was out for such a long time with his shoulder as well, remember?
And just from where he came, obviously joining from Wickham, I think obviously his first game didn't go too well. He'll say it himself. He thought I might not have too many more games after that. But do you know what he's done? He's dug in. He's a good character, obviously. He loves playing for the club. Yeah. He's played how many positions for us, everything apart from goalkeeper, and he gets on with his job. I think he's a better player than a lot of people give him credit for. I think sometimes he plays on that joker side a little bit too much, but that's his character. But when he knuckles down, he's a good player, certainly at this level.
Let's have one last look at the Sunderland side before we head into our next advert break. And Sunderland have made some changes this evening. Régis Labrise using squad rotation perhaps in some cases, obviously forced into some of those as well. He revealed earlier this week that it looks like Dan Ballard and Enzo Lefebvre around 4 or 6 weeks between each other as well. Obviously disappointing to lose those players. Dan Ballard especially as well, because he just came back into the side and looks so solid. But Enzo, we know what a talent he is, so what a miss he'll be as well. So hopefully he's not out for the full 4 to 6.
Yeah, two big players to lose, isn't it? Especially in the same game. You know, Enzo's come in, probably not playing in his favoured position off that left-hand side, but he's obviously had a massive impact as well. Got himself that 1 goal, was at Luton, wasn't it, I think, a couple of weeks ago. And Dan Ballard as well, as you said, he's had a frustrating time with injuries. And then he come in, took the shirt of Chris Mepham. I thought he was excellent down at Leeds, excellent in the games he played. Luton, I think he come in as well, didn't he? And sort of summed his injury up really as well. He made a good block at the weekend. Obviously, block, I think it was around the shin, and triggered something in the back of his leg, which is his hamstring, I think it was. And then obviously he's going to be gutted to be out as well. And the worry is now they're out for maybe 6 to 8 weeks, and that's sort of building up to sort of playoff times really, isn't it? So it's going to be difficult, but they'll want to get back and push themselves to obviously get back for the end of the season.
It's quite reminiscent of our last playoff charge as well in League One, where we missed a lot of players and they just got back in
at
time.
the back as well,
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there, and we'll obviously keep you updated across our Sunderland official channels, and you can also enjoy the first reaction to the manager and a first-team player as well. Following the conclusion of tonight's game, go to our social media pages to follow that. Okay, we're going to nip off to our commentary positions. The people behind us are going to stay here and drink. It's Friday night on Wearside, and the lads are down at Hillsborough as well. 8 p.m. kickoff. You can buy your matchday streaming passes right now around the world at safc.com. We'll see you soon.
Sport, it's not just a game. It's in